In this episode, we want to talk to you about how to create a cash injection with a new offer if making money puts you in panic mode.
Hello, wonderful talents. Welcome to Profitable Talents. I'm Alessia and this is Jacopo. Today we had a very interesting conversation with one of our clients. And it was eye-opening, and I believe that many of us feel or have felt like this in the past around money and how to generate money that doesn't feel weird or it puts you into panic mode or makes us feel a little bit dirty.
This morning with our client, we wanted to brainstorm some ideas on how to create a new offer, but something came up because many of our clients, they come from burnout or they decided they don't want to run their business the way they've done it so far because it's attached to pain. And there are few things that are so crucial if you want to generate cash because you need to, but also in a way that doesn't feel like you're going back into burnout again. So let's talk about this and how to being aware of this programming and how to flip the switch and make money more effortless and positive for you and for who you're serving. First of all, why do you even feel panic when it comes to making money? Surely it's because of the past. This is how our psychology works. This is how brain is wired based on past experiences.
I still remember when we first started, the only thing that we had in mind was we need to make this work. We need to generate the money. We need to serve our people, but it wasn't just serving. There was something a little bit distorted in the way we were creating the content. It was almost like we were so attached to the views, the way it had to be going viral, the way we had to generate more and more content in order for the list to grow. And so it became a way to say, how do we make this list an ATM machine? How do we continuously create content so people come our way? Because we have to make the sale. And there is a time where even if you are liking what you do and the way you serve, because obviously you started a business because you liked it. There was a vocation, right? There was something that called you into creating the offers that you created. There is a point where it becomes too much. Your focus somehow it has moved and been distorted, and the only thing that you do is create. And the moment that you feel the deep or see the dip, you panic. There is this constant thought of how do I make more? How do I call more people?
How do I not lose what I've built and worked so hard for? And because your brain, your physiology, everything it's about you wants to save energy because they want to bring you to safety. And when safety is attached to work, overwork and burnout, that's your comfort zone. That's why every time you think about creating money, generating money, you go back home, your physiological home, and your body knows best. You start to panic, you start to sweat, start overthinking and not trusting yourself anymore. So how do we break this pattern?
Do you remember when we were creating launches every single time? So I remember that time where there was a constant thought of launches. And every time I was writing emails and I was creating content because I had to. The only goal that I had was the creating content, the creating the emails, the creating the launches. So it became this panic constantly into every move that I made. There wasn't fun anymore. There wasn't
mechanical.
It was very mechanical and more of this is how you write the email. This is how you create the hook story close because it has to be in a certain way. And then you have the sales page. I don't know. It's almost like it felt like we didn't exist. It's almost like we were...
You said it. I think it's the best way to describe it.
We didn't exist.
Removed ourselves from the equation. We were just gears in a machine that had to scale no matter what.
We started rethinking about, but what if instead of us serving the business. It was the business that served us, and therefore we put ourselves back into the equation.
I feel like it's like having to learn how to swim. Many people have trauma around water, like they cannot get into the water because they don't know how to swim, and maybe somebody in childhood just pushed them over the board of a swimming pool, they had a panic attack or something, and that's a trauma from there, scared of the water from that moment. Being burnt out from a business is not far from the same concept. You've thrown yourself into something for whatever reason, and then you got burned, even though it worked.
You were splashing.
You were splashing around.
A lot to
you
stay.
were keeping alive, but at what cost? Your own life. And then at some point you got out of the water and said never again. Now, if you, at the moment you have a fear attached to water, or it could be in parallel a fear attached to work. But work, it's not bad per se. It's how we work and how we serve others. The same way, how do we reframe this? Well, if you decide I'm never gonna go near water ever again, that's it, you're done. You might choose to do something else. But what if you actually started this because of a passion that deep inside you know you've got a call for? Okay, we need to relearn how to swim. And how do we do it? There is no way around the fact that you have to go back into the water bit by bit. It doesn't mean that you have to throw yourself in the swimming pool again.
Which is the known thing. Like, we know it works. If I just get into the water and get thrown in the water and splash, we know it works, right?
That is the familiar experience. Like, swimming is splashing around in panic, but it's not the whole truth. What you can do if you want to create a new offer is to dip your toes into water in stillness and sit with it, see how it feels. When you create a new offer, maybe it's around you not doing so much implementation, which is your safe zone, your home, and do more coaching, for example. Even if it doesn't feel natural to you, because you might think, why would people pay me to get access to my brain? Like, I don't have to work as much. Am I supposed to get money from people just talking to people? That is what you need to get back familiar with, because most of the times we take for granted all of the superpowers we have, the way we think, our experience, and all the things that we gather along the way that are incredibly valuable to people that don't need you to do all the work. They just need them to expand their horizons, to know that everything they're doing is fine, and gain permission from somebody like you that have walked the path, that know how it feels, that they've achieved the results, and to say, yeah, please keep going to that direction because it's right for you. That's sometimes what coaching is. We don't teach new things to our clients. We tell them, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? Give them clarity around something. So this is how you can start reprogramming your things, creating offers that are not familiar to you, but around your superpower, respecting yourself.
And especially around your boundaries and the standards that you have finally set up for yourself, because otherwise you're gonna constantly start splashing in the water, knowing that it will work, but with that panic mode. So the very first thing to do, remember, is set up your boundaries and set up your standards. That is the very first thing to do. And every time that you create an offer around it, you cannot step over them. You've set them up, you know exactly how that works, and you know exactly what to say yes to, but especially what to say no to.
If at the moment you feel your business being quite heavy and you have this energy of burnout going on with you, and maybe you have some pain attached to work and all the things that we talked about today, there's something we've been working on for a few days now, which is a quiz, something fun, for you to self-assess what is the main element of your business that needs attention right now. It is your offer, it's your audience, or your architecture. These are the three main pillars that we work with all of our clients to understand where we can fix things and make them flow. And the quiz only takes 2 minutes, and you can follow the link in the description. It will get you a result.
But also, we want to know, once you've done it, what results you got. Because
Exactly.
we're very curious to know where you're at, and especially if we can help you out and how we can help you out into finding your next step and fixing that little hiccups that sometimes you have throughout business.
We hinted at that before, but there's one additional thing that you are completely neglecting, is what's really most valuable that you have to offer to your clients, to your audience. Most of the times we want to feel useful, and our idea of what's valuable, what's useful to people, it's all of the external things. Maybe it's the tool, it's the strategy, it's the resource, the PDF, the content.
More videos, more content.
When really people don't need any of that, because especially if you're thinking high level people, we don't need to hold hands that much. And in order to figure out what is your valuable, let's say, gold mine that you are sitting on your bum right now, I encourage you to do this exercise, which I do, we do with all of our clients, because that's how you uncover all the things that you take for granted. You probably heard it before, like ask your friends what you're good at, and maybe ask yourself what you think you're good at, and a few things will come up from it. But why don't we take a practical approach? Imagine somebody hired you today in the things that you usually do. Like, take an average of your client. Actually think about your best clients. When they hired you, what was the reason for it? Write it down, and then think about, okay, what would be my process to go through the delivery of this thing, why people hired me. Okay, I'm gonna maybe have a survey of their assets. I'm gonna check step by step their funnel. I don't know what you do. It might be, if you're into fitness, it might be check the body sizes and dimension and units, and then go through their lifestyle, and then understand the macro that they need to intake. Like, what is the actual process that you go through all the time when somebody hires you? Go very granular and write everything down. It might be 10 steps, it might be 100 steps, it doesn't matter. But at the end of it, I want you to look at the big list and notice the phases of what you do. Maybe phase 1 is about assessing the current situation. Maybe phase 2 is reprogramming some behavior. Maybe phase 3 is implementing new habits, implementing new strategies. Maybe phase 4 is then action towards a specific goal. Make sure you understand the bird's eye view of what you do, because that is the blueprint of your next offer, because that is what you naturally gravitate towards. It's not just, sometimes we just want to say, hey, pay me if you want to be coached by me, right? It would be so much simpler, but people need to know what it looks like. And if you have this blueprint where you have 3 to 4, 5 tops phases of your method, it will be easier for you to explain it to people in sales calls, on your landing pages, when you create your content. It helps you understanding what you do and what you are valuable for others for. And to your clients to say, okay, I've got this problem and I see that you have a path for me to get there. So you not only attract them because you're you and you are in a niche of you, because people will be attracted to you, but also the logical part of people will say, great, there is a pattern. This is not just you winging it or doing it together randomly every day.
But also, I'm going to give you another tip. Think about what sparks joy. Because if there are things within that list that say, I really don't want to do this anymore, there is no point of keeping it on the list. So think about the decluttering that you can do of that list. Take away anything that doesn't spark joy and just run with what sparks joy. But also in the way that you are delivering maybe to your clients. And most of the time we forget that our clients might not need so much hand holding. And it brings me back to the fact that we are creating so much content, we are putting the tools and we are creating more PDFs, or we feel that we need to be there 24/7 or do 7 calls a week, because otherwise, poor things, they're not gonna get there. But in the way, you are trying to create an environment that suits you, but also in the moment that suits you, it will suit your clients, it will suit the people that you attract. I'm personally the kind of person that doesn't need much hand holding. I need a framework. I need you to tell me where I need to go. I need a direction, because I'm very creative and I go off the tangent. but I need someone to tell me, now you do this, now you do that, and go for it. But I might take a little bit longer. I don't need to have a coaching program where everything is so structurally like this, because otherwise if you don't finish anything in 4 months, then you're lost. No. I'm the kind of person that loves a direction, and then you let me run off with one specific thing and I create more, or it sparks so much joy that I feel inspired, that feels that my business is totally new, and I have clarity on where I'm going. The moment that you set up your boundaries, you set up your standards, then you can create your offer. Think about now, where you are at now, and where it doesn't feel like panic.
Now let's suppose you've gone back to the evaluation board and set standards and boundaries for yourself. You want to create a business that it's you first, your life first. Great. Then you come up with a beautiful offer that it's fun and effective to deliver for you and your clients. Great. Maybe you've took a break from your business because of a burnout in the past. Maybe it's 6 months that you haven't sent a single email to your list. How do we re-engage these people and make them care about you and what you do again, even after a long time you haven't spoken to them? Because this is something that we kind of did lately, and we want to share with you what it's been like.
Frankly, I don't think I am the first one. Actually, we just spoke with a client of ours that has been in the same situation as well, where she said, I've neglected my list for quite some times, or I feel that every time I come out with something, the only thing I'm doing is selling. So this is what happened to me with the Laser Dancer Tips list, where which is the other business that we run. What I felt was that because we were still in that mindset where we have to make the money, because obviously it is the business, so we have to create the content. I started creating content again and sending emails only based on
Conversion?
On conversion, yes. And it felt wrong. And when your energy is wrong, everything that you put out feels dirty, it feels weird, it feels clunky. There is no reaction. It's almost like people expect you to just go, there you go, she's selling something again, or she just wants me to buy something.
Just open and close. There's nothing wrong with selling, but if that is the only intention, people feel that energy.
They feel it. There is the energy that comes out on anything that you do. My mom always tells me, every time you say something, whether it's good, bad, or angry or sad, you can feel it from I can see it from your pores, right? And I went, you know what? I feel like freaking cricket and nothing is coming back. So I stopped emailing it. I stopped creating any reels. I stopped putting out stuff because it did not feel right. And few months later, I'm talking months, I said, you know what, I'm just going to write what feels right to me and how I feel right at the moment. And I said exactly this. Guys, I feel that everything that I've put out, somehow it drained me. It felt that it didn't matter anymore. That it feels that all the work that I did was clunky. And I don't even know, because they're not responding, if what I did was right or wrong. The moment I started writing from a place of abundance, a place of, I don't care if I'm selling or not, I don't care, this is how I feel. And every time I write something, because I love writing, I started creating a diary of an everyday connection I had with the world. Not only I had replies back from this pages of diary that I just started writing without an end goal. It was just me sharing how I felt, if I wanted to go for a walk, how I felt after the walk, and also things that I loved that were in the Lazy Dance Studio, which is our membership. And I said, you know what, I remember when we did this workshop here and it felt X, Y, and Z, and it felt so great creating this kind of content, and dancing it made me feel contempt, or it made me feel that there was something more. We got so many comments, we got emails back. We got people finally buying after procrastinating, buying programs, or people signing up for the membership, to the point that we had, out of the blue, one beautiful person that said, I love everything that you did. I'm gonna buy the most expensive thing that you have on your store. And she paid $5,000 for a bunch of videos and one call with me to direct them into this new path that they have.
Bear in mind, this offer is the highest ticket offer we have in the dance world. It's almost the only offer that doesn't have a landing page. We don't have a funnel for it. We never promoted it.
And it only has a checkout page.
This is how being genuine and real to people sells way more than any sales tactics or funnel that you can think of. If your main intention is first respecting yourself, knowing how you can help people and do it from a place of serving, because after you're doing this and you are confident and convicted enough that your offer is going to help your crowd, you'll be happy to share your offers from a place of serving, and that energy generates the money that you want. And if you stay safe in your own bubble, you create boundaries for yourself, you can first respect yourself and being able to give from a full bucket. That is the very delicate but necessary balance that we all need to have, especially in the online world where we are selling air at the end of the day, because it's like, I'm going to talk to you, you're going to do things, I'm going to make you watch videos and listen to audios that you can't see these things, right? And it becomes difficult to manage how much we give, how much we respect ourselves. And I feel like regulating our nervous system the way we feel and expressing honestly how we feel, it's the key, if you want to keep it like that, to attract more of who we are. If we take care of ourselves, we will attract more people like us. They have their own boundaries and their standards, and they just need your help. It's just as simple as that.
But also, isn't it amazing that you can be the example, leading by example in the way you can create your own business and teaching your audience how to respect you, but also how to respect themselves. So without having to say yes to everything, so without having to jump over fired up hoops in order for you to actually make this. I just had this
like a tiger in a circus or something.
Yeah. So think about how you can be the example of respect, of leadership that your client needs, because the moment that you abuse yourself, people will abuse you.
And if you want to know the whole story around our own method and how we structure our own business from A to Z, we've got a video you can watch right now that will tell you everything, and it's right here.
And by the way, isn't it amazing around here? We are working and it's so beautiful.
So beautiful.